I'm gonna time you guys with my scientific tool here. So 15 minutes total. If you want discussion, then try doing a 10-minute and 5-minute discussion. But you can also use your entire time for talk if you want. Okay, all yours.
Okay, thanks for the time, Prof. Manu. So basically, we are from Indonesia, all of us. So there's a couple of people here. I think it's impossible for me to introduce one by one right now, but thanks for the opportunity. And now we are going to talk about organ origami. So it's basically we are building organs for children to learn anatomy more interesting and more accessible for most of the students right now. So basically, we will talk about 5 to 6 contents. So first of all is our motivations. So basically our background. So why do we choose this kind of topic? Secondly is the goals that we would like to achieve from this kind of project. And third is the model measurements, like the specific design for the anatomy model. And four is our practical activities. So basically what we have done so far. And the five is the result comparison. So like we are comparing several ways that we are going to approach this kind of project. And last but not least is the conclusion. So let's move on to the first one is the background motivation. So our main motivation is for the educational purposes. So right now we are in Bali. Most of the schools in Bali right now, so they don't have a proper real kit equipment to study anatomy. So right here in my school's lab, so basically we have a massive kit and it's too big, and so basically the kit is using nails to hanging some of the organs, which is harmful for some of the students, for especially for primary students who are very likely to touch or learn biology. Secondly, because of that, we are going to plan to build an affordable and also a real kit equipment for students to learn, although nowadays internet has been accessible for most of us. But I guess for children, I think that for us, real kit equipment is one of the best way for children to actively learning and also took part in the also having fun in the learning process. Okay, moving on with the goals. We have some goals that we are planning on achieving. So first of all is like the flexible and safe model. So as I've mentioned before, that the models that we are using right now are using nails, and the nails are actually harmful for children, as I've mentioned before. So we are planning on removing that kind of thing and also making it flexible. So what it means by flexible is like we could take the model everywhere. Right now the model is only put on the lab, so that children could only go into the lab to see the anatomy, and then they could not actually learn by themselves whenever they want. So our goal is to create a specific model that could be taken anywhere by the children or by the students themselves to actually playing with that and also learning simultaneously. And also last but not least, like the barcode per organ. So we haven't done that right now, but we are planning on improving that so that students can actually get more detailed information about each organ from a specific websites or maybe links that are related to anatomy and stuff. And the third one is the model measurements. So as I mentioned before, model measurements is very important right now because in the labs, the model are too big to be taken everywhere. So we're using a 3:1 comparison. So the human anatomy model is length is 16 for the left lung. We are planning on getting a 5.3 length. So it's basically a lot smaller and could be taken anywhere for children or primary children, or maybe at the age of us, we could also take it anywhere to actually playing with it and learn the organ origami. So right now there are 3 types of ways that we are approaching right now. So the first one is 3D printing. Secondly is paper mache, and also the last one is origami. So basically 3D printing is, as usual, 3D printing using the thermoplastic filaments, and the tools are basically 3D printing machine, software, and also laptops, so that or PC maybe for us to create the model of the 3D printing organ. However, we are also using some paper mache, so the tools are basically scissors, painting brush, and use some leftover containers, and also scrap paper. I could say the scrap paper could be from anywhere, like from the leftover newspaper maybe, or from the scratch paper that we have been using to take notes, and that leftover papers, and some plastic bag, transparent masking tape, and glue to strengthen the structure. So last but not least is the origami. So basically we only need scissors and rulers, and also we need paper glue. However, there is 3 types of paper, which is type, because we haven't got the UFO and origami papers, but I will show you some of the pictures of the model that we have created. So first of all, this is the real kit. Like this is the 3D printing, 3D printed models of lever. So we are taking lever as our basic. So we are because lever is I guess the easiest design organ for us. So this is the 3D printing of the lever, and also these are the paper mache. So I think the color was a little bit off, but this is the structure of the paper mache. And last but not least is the origami. So this is the origami that we have created so far. Okay, now moving on to the result. So 3D printing, what are the strengths? So 3D printing has a very high efficiency process, which means that with only limited materials, it can also create a very precise and accurate. So I could also design and putting on some feints on the vicinity of the lever, and also for the structure itself, it is very durable. And for the materials, thermoplastic filaments are quite cheap right now. However, the weaknesses is the design and 3D printing machine. So basically, 3D printing machine is quite expensive in Indonesia,
So
especially.
Jeffrey, you were showing something in your hand. Did you guys actually print a 3D printed organ?
Oh yeah, this is the 3D printed organs, the lever
Yeah,
one.
if you unshare your screen, people might actually want to see it. I don't know if you have a photograph of it in your. It's not in the slide deck, right?
Yeah, just now this one.
Okay,
so,
it's gonna come. Yeah, there we go.
Yes, that's the 3D printing one. So I think you can see the vein besides, and the below there's the structure. For the second picture, there's the structure. So there's basically the whole process of 3D printing model. And also this is the paper mache. So we are actually using paper, some leftover papers to actually stick on it. And last one is the origami. So basically they are creating patterns like that, and they're using the glue to stick the side of the origami up. Okay, moving back to the 3D printing. So the weaknesses, I guess, is like the skills for like children to use the 3D printing machine. So actually children are actually quite incapable of using 3D printing machine right now, because I think the lack of skills, and also 3D printing machine is actually quite expensive to be too affordable for some institution or schools, and the production time is quite long. And also last but not least,
Jeffrey, one quick comment, because you're gonna run out of time pretty soon. Spend a little more time on what you guys did with the origami, and how did you come up with these sets of shapes? It's more, I mean, everybody knows the sets of challenges around printing. What's more fun is on the things that you guys built, because you're going to run out of time otherwise.
Okay, I will skip to the origami.
Yeah, don't worry about the SWOT analysis. I think what matters is if you go back to the slides on what you made. Yeah, I think talk about this.
I
This
guess
is a million times more exciting. I mean, it's just analysis we can all do. What you do with your hands matters so much more. So first of all,
okay.
how did you guys come up with these patterns? How do you generate them? What has been done in the past on those?
Okay, so basically they are actually we are having the patterns, so we are looking for the patterns. And so basically I am the one who are in charge of the 3D printing processes. So there are my friends who are actually one who is actually dealing with the origami processes. Maybe I will move on to her to explain
Yes.
earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me, I'm Jyoti. So this pattern is actually gotten from the website. I will send the link later, but then in the future we want to simplify it because this the link in the
The link is in the top.
PowerPoint as you can see. But we know that this pattern is still too complicated, so we want to simplify it later. So yeah, it will be our next project.
Yeah, I think it's the definition of complicated. I can see lots of numbers. Yes.
So I think like if you see the shape, I think it's a little bit bent down compared to the 3D printing one. Is like there's some like some bending places. So I think that is the basically something we are missing on right now. So yeah, I guess we are going to find another folding algorithm to actually make it more simple to fold for children, as well as making it to a more standardized pattern or shape for children to learn. And last but not least, we are going to choose origami as our main sources to create this kind of project. Is like because the first of all is flexibility. First of all, 3D printing is only just be printed, but it's not going to be assembled by the children themselves. However, for origami, it is actually very accessible and interesting for children. Like last time we are dealing with full scope. Full scope is very interesting because the children in primary schools, they could actually try to fold it by themselves. So I guess we are having the same notion that folding is actually fun for children and actually engage them to learn more about biology. And last but not least is also the mobility and also the waterproof characteristic that UPO paper has. Right now we are using HVS paper right now because due to the lack of the material, but I guess with the UPO material, like as far as we have known, UPO material has a waterproof ability. For example, using the full scope is waterproof, and I guess that will be the material for creating this kind of project. I guess that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, let's open to questions and comments. So one thing that I was just going to mention in our last chat, maybe I forgot, if you unshare your screen, Jeffrey, I'll show you guys something. You know, one of the challenges with the origami models is that they might crumple if they're being handled. So if you unshare your screen, I want to show you guys another process. A really beautiful process that was invented by a student in his class because he was getting bored. It's called tapegami, which is essentially origami with tape. So if you guys go to tapegami, what you'll find is everything that you see here is essentially built with a sticky tape. What's different here is that although the folds and things are present, it's still a rigid structure. So it's compressibly, it's not going to collapse. And of course, it's a different, it's all made from a single sheet of tape that you keep folding into rods and these rod-like structures. So the tape that's used is primarily this type of masking tape. But if you look through this art, for example, I mean, it's incredible to see the kind of geometrical shapes that can be built. But the key is that they are strong. which is what you probably want to do when you're thinking about these types of objects. So anyway, I'll send this link. It would be fun to think about something where they don't fall apart when people are trying to play with them.
Thanks for the suggestion, Prof. Like we will actually experimenting on the Tapigami ideas.
Yeah, play with it. It's quite fun. Any other comments? I think we're almost out of time. So while we are waiting, I want to make sure who's going next.
We have a question over here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering if you guys considered like inflatable organs, like kind of like a beach ball, you can blow it up and it would be the whatever shape you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. So there was a suggestion about inflatable organs, like just balloons, the whole thing made out of balloons. It's fairly straightforward to mold them in that way, and then you deflate and inflate.
That was a pretty interesting idea for children to play with it and put them beach. Okay.
That would be absolutely fun. You guys have more work cut out. I absolutely love the idea. And one of the ways to do that is you 3D print, then you make a rubber mold, and then you can dissolve and remove the thing you made the mold out of. And the stress patterns when you mold is the actual pattern inflated rubber can take. So there is what's missing in here is the algorithm to be figured out of what you mold rubber in such that it gives rise to an inflated shape.